In this video, I am going to show you how you can fix a stairway that has a low first step. Now, this is going to be a lot easier than fixing a stairway. So what we're looking at here is a stairway that is built correctly. Each step has a 7¼ inch tall riser, and then a stairway with a low first step. Now, this is 1 inch smaller than the rest of the steps in the stairway. And basically, like we did with the other video where we started with a tall first step, the first suggestion I would like to make, if this is going to work for you, will be to lower the walkway, sidewalk, gravel, soil, whatever it is, and then add additional shaped pieces if needed to create the same riser height. However, if you're dealing with a concrete sidewalk, patio, something like that, this probably won't be an option. And if that's the case, then this next method might work better. So the first thing we're going to want to do is to get a straight edge, maybe a straight piece of lumber, so that we can create a level line to the other section where the upper level is going to be located, so that we can get a measurement of the total rise. So not too difficult. We are going to start at the lower level and then grab our level and then make sure that this is nice and flat and horizontally level so that we can measure the total rise or the vertical distance between the upper level and the lower level. And then we're going to simply divide the number of risers, and in our case here we have 6 of them, into the total rise to figure out our new riser height of 7⅕ inches. However, our decimal shows us that it's going to be just a little bit over 1/16 of an inch. But that's the number we're going to be using. So the first thing you can do will be to remove the treads. However, you can leave the treads on if it's going to work better for you to figure out exactly how high we're going to be raising each one of the individual treads. So the next thing we are going to need to do will be to create a 7⅕ inch mark so that we can figure out the height of the shaped piece that we're going to need to place on top of the stringers so that we can raise our new tread height up to the correct level. And you can do this one at a time, or you can do it, as I mentioned earlier, with the treads still on. Because if the treads are still on and you put the measurement in where you need it to be, then you can simply measure from this line to the top of the tread to get the desired height of the piece you're going to be placing underneath the treads. And then once you have that number, you can simply cut a few boards to go on top of the lower step. And you can always attach these pieces with screws, nails, staples, and you could even use some type of a construction adhesive underneath these pieces and on top of them if you think that will work best for your project. So not too difficult, right? We put our treads on and we now have the correct height that we need. So you can do this one at a time and work your way up, or you can lay everything out all at once. And this is actually what I would do. I would lay out each one of the riser lines so that I could adjust them if I needed to. For example, if I came to here and I drew my 7⅕ inch line in here, and this was 7¼ then I could simply reduce each one of them by 1/16 of an inch to split the difference between a few more of the risers. And if that doesn't make sense, let me know in the comment area. I can always make another video on that. And this could be a problem, especially if you're dealing with a measurement that might be 1/32 of an inch off and on a longer set of stairs. So now that we have this, we can simply go ahead and measure the distance here and then subtract the thickness of our tread, which is going to be 1.5 inches, from each one of these measurements so that we can get the height for the shaped strip that we're going to need to cut and attach to the top of the stringer. And for those of you who thought you were simply going to add a little bit or the same amount to each step, you can see here where you are not going to be doing that. Each one of the pieces that you cut will be a different height. And if you remember that I mentioned earlier that you could always lay everything out with the existing treads still in place and then measure the distance here, then you can see here how this would work. So 5/8 of an inch strip there, a 1/2 inch strip here. We're simply going to work our way up 5/16, and then of course an 1/8 of an inch. And then we're simply going to rip the strips and attach them to the top of the stringer and then reattach our treads so that they will be located exactly where we need them to be. Now for some of you, you might have noticed that the measurements between the strips might not provide us with the exact riser height that we need. So if you are looking for a perfect step, then you might need to calculate all of these shaped pieces of lumber in maybe a 32nd of an inch measurement. And I'm just throwing that out there. However, I don't think it's going to be necessary because most of our local building codes allow us a 3/8 of an inch maximum variation. And the most that we're probably going to be off in this video will be about an 1/8 of an inch between all of the steps. And trust me, an 1/8 of an inch when building a set of stairs is going to be close enough. So there you have it. And of course, now you have another method to repair a set of stairs with a low riser. Now, I didn't mention, even though this would be obvious, that you could always remove and replace the entire stairway or recut the stringers to make everything work also. And for anybody out there who might have a better method, feel free to share it with us in the comment area, along with any questions you might have also.